You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, it's AFTERBUZZ TV's Game Control Live.
Hey guys, and welcome to the very first edition of Game Control Live through AFTERBUZZ TV. Joining me all the way across the street, the very lovely Raychul Moore.
Hi guys.
And trying to outshine her with those lovely locks. Look at those curls. Grant Kohrmann.
Hi, everybody.
You're outshining her in my world, Grant. And sitting next to me, Kaori Takee.
Hello.
And guys, I'm Dave Klein. In the booth, we've got John Quick.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Are we ready to talk some Gazaman?
We're ready to talk some Gazaman. What the hot beats, by the way. I gotta look it up again, guys. We'll put in the description what song this is. It's a Smash Brothers Melee remix, so you guys can find it. But guys, today we're gonna be talking some console wars because we've got lots of new rumors, lots of new speculations about Durango, some stuff about the Ouya, and just overall talk about the console wars. We're gonna talk the state of the Japanese gaming industry, a little bit of moments of our week, gaming moments of the week. IGN Pro League acquired by Blizzard, and we've got a bunch of quick hit news stories for you guys. But let's start out with the Xbox 720/Durango rumors, because we've got a bunch of them flooding in now, a whole slew of them. And I believe the first report is that, like the PS4, Durango won't be backwards compatible.
Right, but we also heard in a later rumor that possibly we'll have like an add-on that will
Mini.
right, kind of like the HD add-on that the Xbox 360 had, but it's saying that the rumor is saying that we'll be able to play Xbox 360 discs, it'll be able to play XBLA games, and that stuff.
Yeah, I think the key for me is as long as you can also play the XBLA games, because I've got so many now at this point.
I know, and a lot of them are really good, and I want to go back and play them again and again. So if this comes out, I don't care the price. I will buy the add-on.
I do have to wonder, though, how hard really would it have been just to make the XBLA games capable to play on the Durango? Like, it seems like not the hardest thing to emulate.
I don't think it will be hard.
They
I
want
think
us
this
to
is
buy
like,
it.
I mean,
Yeah,
the rumors that are out right now
it's
are
all
all
about the money.
conflicting.
Yeah.
It's all conflicting, though. Like, you have one website going like it does require an online connection. You have another website 2 days later going like it doesn't. So like and then this Xbox Mini rumor, this Xbox Mini add-on, it just sounds like it's that sounds to be like the most crazy rumor I've heard so far. Like there's an add-on like the little chip for Nintendo 64 to increase the graphics capabilities.
It just sounds like it's going to be really expensive to play. Apparently, I heard that it was going to be $500 for the Xbox 720.
Yeah, right now, $500 off the bat is the word.
And then,
according to tech journalist Paul Thurrott, just to throw
pay
that out
that.
there.
well, if they're going to add, and then you have to buy the mini thing to add on.
And that's like the arcade
just-
edition, like the one that has
Yeah.
like the lesser capabilities, the lower like hard drive space and like that. Because you would assume that they're going to come out with, since these are now becoming more like hard drive, more like computers, like you're going to need more storage space for your downloadable games. Like these are going to be like, there's going to be a couple different versions at launch, like a pro edition and like a regular one.
There always is. Of all these systems, they always have
Yeah, you got your
editions.
$400 bundle,
Yeah.
$500, $600.
You gotta just get the big-ass one that's got everything you need.
And really, at the end of the day,
Sure.
it's always sort of worth it to buy the big one because it's always
Yeah.
so much better with everything it has.
Yeah, because then if you go out and buy all the little things that the smaller bundles don't have, it equals or is more money than the bundles. Just get the big-ass bundle.
Yeah, but let's go ahead and also talk about, I mean, this was more speculation last week, but we're still getting more reports and also counter reports that the Durango will be always on, which I am very against. First of all, I'm going to throw that out there because I was thinking about it, and even I do usually have my 360 hooked up to the internet, but when I move or I go someplace new, if it was always on, I wouldn't be able to play because it's not like I have internet set up when I move somewhere. It kind of takes a week or two for that to get going.
Plus power outages, all that internet goes down.
Yeah,
my
my
360 is
UPS.
always hooked up to the internet, but I would like the option to not have to be
Yes,
online.
well, some people don't even need online to play. They just rather not play multiplayer and some people just want to play single.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I just think it's
True.
insane. When I first heard the first speculation, I really thought like, this is the dumbest rumor. There's no way this is true. They can't be that stupid. And then it keeps on coming out from more and more people. So maybe it is a thing. I don't know. But I mean, the big controversy was Adam Orth. And Adam Orth said a whole lot of things on Twitter.
He's a nice guy.
What a nice guy. Hashtag deal with it. But so Adam Orth, for those of you who don't know, basically came out on Twitter when these speculations first came out, saying, and he on Twitter, apparently he's Microsoft's creative director of what we don't know. I'm going to speculate I'm speculating he's the creative director of Always On, just because I think it'd be funny if he was. But he said, he just tweeted out, sorry, I don't get the drama around having an always-on console. Every device now is always on. That's the world we live in. Hashtag deal with it. And anytime a protractor came to him and complained on him on Twitter, he replied to them in a very snarky way, basically saying people were like, well, what if I live in a rural area that doesn't have a good internet connection? And he was just like, well, then maybe you should move.
Well, what I thought was interesting was like he was actually talking with a friend of his, which is a developer. And at first, like he was sending him replies, thinking that his conversation was, you know, like in between him and this developer. But it ended up being that, like, when you have like creative director at Microsoft or Microsoft Studios in your description of your Twitter account, like you don't have just your friends following you. Sometimes you have like people that are fans of the Xbox or fans of the industry. You know, like they follow everybody they can find following you. And he didn't realize that as he started to tweet out these. Well, maybe he did or didn't realize.
How could you not realize if he's talking about Always On and how he's so high tech? He's got to realize it. Come on. Hashtag deal with it.
Yeah, if you're on Twitter, you know what's going on. Everyone's seeing all your stuff.
Yeah.
And also,
Now he's jobless.
all his comments make me think that it actually might be true.
Well, let's actually what Rachel just brought up. He did lose his job, as you said, over this. I mean, do you think that was justified?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can't. Yeah, you just can't do that. You gotta watch yourself.
I have some pity for him, but at the same time, I put myself in the same position. I was like, hey, I'm an executive at Microsoft of some sort, creative director of who knows what. But if I said something like that on the internet, and I was like, if I took that kind of tone with it, with the people that like I was discussing this with, I would have expected myself to be out of a job. It's not a shock at all. I think I do still have some pity for him, and there's a lot of people on the internet going like, you know, it sucks, but you know, he really was talking about something that probably Microsoft's going to implement. So
yeah. Well, I mean, it's funny because right afterwards, Microsoft came out with an apology saying, we apologize for the inappropriate comments made by an employee on Twitter yesterday. This spokesperson is not this is not a spokesperson for Microsoft. And they went on to kind of talk about, but they never said yes or no about Always On.
Yeah.
They said, we have not made any announcements about our product roadmap and have no further comment on this matter. What does that mean?
We gotta wait till E3.
Yeah, but
well, these are rumors. I mean, like
Yeah.
even the used games, you know, like the protection that they have to, you know, like limit used games or repurchased games. Like it's all like one website will say yes, the other website will say no. And Microsoft has actually been really, really quiet. They haven't released very much of anything. And yeah, they're rumored to go to E3, but these are all really, really weird rumors. Right now, the Xbox already has like some bit of online capability that like every time I'm signing on, it's asking me, you know, like you got to sign into your profile. You've got to, you know, like, do you want to download? Do you have to connect to internet for this game, this game, this game, and this game? So, I mean, it's just the next step of what's already implemented on the Xbox. I don't think it's going to be as harsh as what people are always assuming it's going to be the worst out of it. It's going to be the absolute worst. Like it's going to every second it's going to check to make sure that you're connected to the internet. Well,
that's because that's what the reports are, is that every 3 minutes they're going to check. So, I mean, it's just based off of those reports.
But that's just kind of gamers now. Gamers just always freak out, and they're very dramatic about everything now.
What might be really interesting is if these reports are coming out from people that have dev kits, like the dev kits are so policed. Like these kits, like they're expensive. Like they would dial
you know what
home
I mean?
every
Like we
couple
worked,
minutes to make sure that whoever's using it is a developer as opposed to like a gamer.
I mean, you know what though? Like we both used to work with G4, and I know like their dev kits, like the Wii dev kit, always had to be connected to the internet at all times.
Yeah.
But you'd imagine though, if people are coming out with these reports, they know that about dev kits at this point. We know that about dev kits, so I don't think people would make that mistake. That's a pretty common knowledge in the industry. And back to Adam Orth, though, Rachel Steiner on the chat saying someone needs to learn a lesson in public relations and/or community management, and I kind of agree with what you guys were saying too, which is that, look, I mean, if you're a creative director at Microsoft or whatever your position is, you're representing them.
Yes.
So you
Yes.
can't put them in this negative light and put such horrible publicity on them.
But someone in the chat's also saying, you know, like Gabriel is saying like that he's the creative director and he tweeted about it, pretty much confirms it. We still don't know what he's the creative director of.
Right.
So
Always On, I'm telling you. He's the creative director of Always On. It's a conspiracy, I tell you.
If I may chime in here real fast, I think this is totally my own speculation, but I am guessing by a couple of very kind of important, or this one very important number that makes me think that Always Online is going to be where everything is going, and it's this. Call of Duty Black Ops 2 made $500 million in its first 24 hours.
Yeah, that is a good point, that the multiplayer games are making so much money, but it's only a couple games, and it's like, would you want to market your entire system? Because I can tell you from my perspective, I'm always connected to the internet with my Xbox, always. Yeah. But if this ends up being true, the Always On rumors, I'm going to go with the PS4, and then I'll really have to seriously consider, do I want the Durango if it's Always On? It really makes me second guess it.
Too.
Well,
I'm still going to get both.
Well, I'm saying if I had to choose. No, I'm saying.
I guess the key thing is that the gaming industry has found out this very important fact. There is a massive market for people who are going to be always connected online, and this also includes that they've learned this fact from
But
WoW.
at the same time, you're limiting yourself. That's the problem with the console. You are limiting your market with your console, which is always a bad idea.
You are limiting your market, but you're finding a major moneymaker market that you can very easily defend against piracy with. And if you can make a bunch of money and make sure that nobody
stuff,
can...
I think the Always Online, I think people are worried about it, but I don't think it's going to come to a head to the point that it's so strictly policed as everybody thinks that it's going to be.
I think they should have the option, though.
Oh, they definitely will have the option. I know they're going to build that in. They're going to build in like a serial number into each disc. Like they've talked about how they're going to do it. They're going to do the stuff that makes sense. They're going to do the stuff that tests this stuff out, but I don't think they're going to hard code in the stuff that really makes their audience like queasy. Someone said that they would put it in there and they could activate it after like a couple of years with a simple update. So I think that's far more likely than just like it coming out at launch with Always On.
I mean, John's talking about like Black Ops and those games, and most of the people who play those games are more casual gamers. I mean, I love Call of Duty 2, honestly, but most of the gamers, those billions of sales, are casual gamers, and if they buy something like the Durango out of the box, I don't think they'd be expecting that Always On and know what to do with it, and I think that's another issue. But let's go ahead and talk about some more consoles, because we've been talking a lot about the Durango and the rumors regarding that. I have a Wii U, so I mean, like, and this kind of like the console war now is Wii U, Durango, PS4, Ouya, I guess. But the Wii U, on CNN, Shigeru Miyamoto was interviewed, and he was quoted saying that there was a period when we first released the Nintendo DS that people would say there's no way people can look at two screens at once. I almost feel like as people get more familiar with the Wii U and those touchscreen interfaces, that there's going to come a point where they feel like I can't do everything I want to do if I don't have a second screen. It's kind of a call. I feel like it's kind of a cry for please give us a chance.
They need more games, more like hard-hitting games. They kind of put out the system, and then they were like, "Meh, we don't have anything actually for it."
Yeah.
We got some awesome games coming up soon, but I think they kind of jumped the gun with the console release.
Well,
yeah, I think so too.
Some of the publishers released their, like their quarterly numbers as well, because we're starting to get into the first financial quarter. And Sony and Nintendo released their numbers. So game sales are down 1.5%. But hardware sales are up 5%. So if you look at like the 3DS, like that's actually selling quite well in Japan. Not the PS Vita.
Way to jump topics, Grant.
Well, no, I mean like console wars. Like the next PS3, like the Xbox. It's still too early to tell like how they're going to perform, especially with those features.
Yeah, well, especially since we don't actually know anything solid about the Xbox 720.
Yeah. But I feel like with the Wii U, I agree with what you said, Rachel. I think a lot of the problem was that they released too early. And once again, the problem with the Wii and why it started to falter at the end, yes, it did well for them at the beginning, and maybe they're looking at that. But it was last gen and all of their capabilities. And the Wii U, frankly, is. I mean, apparently it can run Unreal Engine, but probably not to the capabilities of the 720 or PS4.
Right.
And look, I love me some Nintendo Land. It's a great game, and I always love Nintendo games, but I do think they jumped the gun. It's way too early.
I don't think as far as like hardware goes with graphics and what it can run, Nintendo cares that much because their
No, I don't think so
audience-
either.
It's not the hardcore audience that cares or looks for that in their games as much.
Yeah, and we've got on the chat Sin Guy saying, agreed, I like the potential of the Wii U, but there's nothing on it I want to play. And like you said, Rachel, too, it really is all down to the games. And it's just like Nintendo, they pretty much are a first-party console
Yes.
for the most part, which is sad, but it's true.
But their
Well, we're
first-party
kinda like
games are
Sony
amazing.
sometimes.
Right,
nothing
their
wrong with
first-party games are some of the best. There's just really nothing on the Wii U yet. I mean, there's New Super Mario Brothers U, which is basically just New Super Mario Brothers. It really, honestly, I wasn't the biggest fan of it.
No, I want like a real Mario game.
Well, each of
like
these
Yeah.
each of these consoles has their first.
I'm glad Sunshine's the one you mentioned.
They have almost the same amount of first party titles. Xbox a little bit more than the PS3 or PS4 in this case for the next gen systems, and then on top of that, the Wii U. Like it came out with what pretty much everybody expected. It didn't come out with 30. It came out with 10 solid titles max, and it really hasn't bolstered that with any new upcoming titles. Like it's been a very slow trickle of like stuff. So if like you're looking for 3 racing games to choose from, you don't have that choice.
Yeah.
And they kind of need to make that. They kind of need to offer that choice to their
Yeah.
consumers.
I mean, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, when it comes to the Wii U, it's not my first choice of a console, but I think it's a lot of fun to play with other people.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the funnest things. So
Yeah.
when you think about having a party,
Kaori and I were playing some Nintendo Land the other day.
When you think about having a
Yeah, it's
party,
a family or a party device.
or even working out, whatever, you
That's
get
what
the Wii U.
Nintendo.
But like
has
John
always been good
mentioned,
at.
like
Yeah.
we're talking about $500 million in sales for a not that type of game. You know what I mean? Like Call of Duty is not going to sell those units on a Wii U. They're going to sell it on an Xbox.
Sure. But I mean, for Nintendo, though, when you really look at it, they don't have to worry about anyone else making money for their first party stuff. It's like,
Yeah.
we make all the money because we made it and it's on our consoles.
Yeah.
They usually do pretty well. Even though everyone always has these doom rumors about them, they're doing pretty well.
Yeah, they're still fine.
It's a family console. It's a safe console. Even like if you have family and you have kids, it's a good one.
Yeah.
I think one of the dark horses that I'm looking out for this year is the Steam box. That is more mysterious, in my opinion, than
Let's
the
go ahead and
Xbox
jump
and
on
the
that.
PS3.
Yeah.
Like the Steam box in general, like no company has basically been able to shove the PC into the console war. The PC's always been considered like that third or fourth party even that never really could get a leg up on the competition. Like it has its holdouts, it has its fans. I'm a fan, you know, I love my PC. That will be the first thing that's upgraded out of my entire lineup of consoles. But with the Steam box, that might actually be the impetus to get a cheap computer in front of families and connected to your TV.
You mean like the Ouya?
Yes, but unlike the Ouya,
Or no-
the Steam box will be able to play all the titles that you're used to being able to play on a console because they're currently being released simultaneously for the PC, and it won't
Okay,
have the
but
problems that the Ouya had.
The issue with the Steam box, though, is, and this is the issue that I kind of realized when we saw that report. I'm not remembering the name of the Steam box that we got, that then Steam decided not to back anymore.
Oh, they were
Piston.
showing the prototype.
The prototype.
It was the piston.
The piston, yes, the piston. The piston cost so much money to the point of like, why would I buy a piston if I could essentially just, it is a expense, I can just have a PC.
Yeah.
I'd rather
Yeah,
just have a
that's what I'm
PC that
thinking
plays
too.
Steam. Why?
And that's one of the big
Why
things
have a Steam box?
Steam big picture, like you will be able to have a PC and do that. Like if you already have a PC, there's no reason for me to have to
Right,
buy
and everybody
buy
has a
Steam
PC,
box.
so just
The
buy
Steam
a
box is meant to
controller and
be-
connect it.
The Steam box is meant to be not for somebody who has a PC. It's meant to be an introductory PC or like an introductory PC gaming experience for people that don't have a PC in the house to do that kind of stuff. Like I guess they would be focusing on people that have like Apple, Mac, or an outdated PC,
Okay,
and they want to be able to play like Crysis. They want to be able to play
But-
Far Cry or Call of Duty on that.
You look at Steam's big selling point and what they want, and when they were listing specifications for companies like Piston who wanted to make a Steam box,
Yeah.
they want people where you can upgrade your Piston or your PC like you can with the PC.
I think
and
that's
that
just like
right
a
there though
dream
makes
feature.
it. But the way that Steam works, though, a lot of it, because it's PC based, PC games are always the highest end you can be.
Yeah.
You need to spend a lot of money if you really want to play those games, and that's what gives PC gamers their edge.
Right.
And I don't know if you can really do that with
that's a
the
good
Steam
point.
box realistically.
Right.
That's what's nice about consoles.
Well, we do have
is
just
you don't
that
have to worry
one.
about that.
We
Yeah.
have just that one example so far. So I'm really, just like the rumored Xbox and the PS4 and how they're going to function and if they're going to have those online capabilities or going to force you to operate within a very like restrictive sandbox. I kind of want to see what other companies are coming out with the Steam Box, what their specs are, and like if they're going to fall in line after that prototype, or if they're going to like, you know, pioneer a new type of PC that's cheaper for a consumer, but also is just as powerful as like the Xbox. And honestly, like another thing to concentrate, all these new consoles are going to be running on very similar PC components. They're not running on very specific processors made for the consoles. They're running on very similar PC components that a regular PC would be.
Right, but the issue comes to me when you need to start upgrading your PCs. Like right now, it's fine, but once you start needing to upgrade, that's where the issues come. But
I'm interested to hear more about the Steam Box, but I don't see anywhere for it in the industry. I don't see a need for it.
See it in my house.
Well, I don't see a desire for it. So
Grant right there, he's the one.
I think for me, it all comes down to how much it'll end up costing.
Yeah.
But see, I already have a gaming PC, so I have no need for a Steam Box because anything it can run, my PC can already run.
Yeah, but then, yeah.
Yeah, it's like I have a PC, I have my systems. I mean, I don't see a need for it. You know what else I don't need to see a need for? Because I'm a dick. The Ouya.
I don't see it
I believe we have an incoming call. Should I?
All right. So we've got a caller on the line, and by the way, the number for you guys 424-256-1729 if you want to call in. Let's go ahead and take this call.
Answer it. Call, you're on the line with Game Control.
Hi, I was hoping to join in on the Steam Box discussion.
Yeah, what's your name?
Raychul Steiner.
Raychul Steiner, how's it going?
Yep. Hey, Dave.
Hey.
Not too bad.
So what are your thoughts?
All right, well, basically, first of all, you mentioned Mac computers and kind of targeting those people. There's one issue with that, and that's the fact that you can actually easily partition your hard drive and run Windows on a Mac ever since they went to the Intel chipset.
I do that on mine.
Yeah, I do that on mine too.
Exactly, and it's really not that hard to do. I used to work tech support from them when that first came out, and we were instructing people how to do that all the time. So it's actually a useless demographic to target.
The Steam Box.
Yeah, with the Steam Box.
Right.
And
because
honestly,
so you're saying even people who own Macs can then use Steam to the full capacity.
Right, and that's portable too. You can take your gaming rig or your gaming computer and take it with you somewhere.
Yeah, but
you
my
can't do that
Mac
with the Steam
costs
Box.
nearly almost $3,000. The Steam Box at its most expensive is about going to be what, $900. And honestly, right now I can't play Crysis or some of the more expensive, more processor-intensive games on my 2-year-old Mac. It just doesn't cut it. So,
Yeah.
I mean, like, if I can purchase, like, maybe, like, a $500 or a $900 PC to play those games, like, that's my out. I can't play it on my Mac.
Sorry, Rachel, what was your other point?
Also, the other thing is that the people who will buy that many games on Steam are already well equipped to run those games. So why would you pay a few $100s just to be able to bring it somewhere?
Well, I would think that the target audience is probably not myself. I mean, I love it and I might pick it up, but if it's a way to get, like, let's say my brother or my mom into it, they want to play like League of Legends, they want to play a game that isn't necessarily available on the console, that might be an inexpensive way. Like, I've always struggled with getting my family a nice gaming PC or getting someone who's not technically
So you get them a 360 or a PS3.
See, I wouldn't really say that like games like most of the stuff on Steam or the hardcore games is something that someone who doesn't already have a gaming rig would play. A lot of Steam games are targeted towards hardcore PC gamers.
Yeah.
I'm also really spoiled because I will play Wii games with my mom, my brother, and his fiance.
Yeah.
My dad plays World of Warcraft, and he'll also play the Nintendo Wii. He also plays the Xbox 360. The only consoles I have that I am the only person that plays is my PS2 and my original NES.
Oh, those are good consoles, though, to
Wow,
play.
yeah.
But we've got to move on to our next topic and talk about the Ouya.
Yeah,
but Rachel, thank you
absolutely.
so much for calling in and watching.
Yes,
we
thank you.
appreciate it.
No problem.
All right.
Talk to you later.
Talk to you later.
Yeah,
and we'll talk to you on the
first
chat.
caller was
Rachel's
a
also on the
girl.
chat.
Yes.
Just for you,
And her name
other
was
Rachel.
Rachel.
Yes.
All right, so let's get back to the Ouya, though. And I guess my point with the Ouya is why we're bringing it up, too, is because there are initial reports coming in. They've sent out their Kickstarter campaign prototypes to people.
Right.
Reports are very, very negative. And they're coming out now, Ouya, saying, like, hey, these are just prototypes. Don't review it. It's not ready yet. But I think a lot of the complaints are complaints that are just going to be Ouya complaints, period.
Right. It's not simple things that they're just going to be able to fix.
Yeah, it
just
wasn't
'cause
like a bug
prototype.
in the user interface.
Right.
It was like the kind of stuff that you'd be focusing on as a product tester from day one.
Yes.
Like as soon as they got funded and their prototypes were running and like they're starting to develop it and they notice like, let's say, a delay in the console. I mean, sorry, a delay in control. Like a latency. And if that still exists and they're shipping that in the prototype unit, that's not going to help game designers develop games for it. It's not going to help the, like the review community review it better. It's going to kind of give an idea that they still haven't been able to squash these problems or bugs from the year or so that they've been working on it.
And the issue, guys, for you who are curious is, I mean, there are interface issues which can be fixed, but a lot of it's just the fact that the Ouya is basically an Android console. It plays Android games, but that basically means that you're running off of a freemium model for a console system, which doesn't really work because you're getting constant pop-ups asking you to pay money because it's freemium based. And on top of that, they don't have a set price point for games. Some games are free, some games are like up to $12.
Oh, what was it? The Final Fantasy game is like 15.
Yeah,
almost,
Final Fantasy 2 was 15, or 3 was 15 because it's the best one. And then I think the other issue too, when you think about it, is a lot of Android games and iOS games, some of the best ones have been trying to focus on touch gaming, touch control gaming with a touchscreen. You can't do that.
Well, no, the Ouya has a touchpad.
They do have a touchpad?
Yeah, it has a touchpad on the top of it.
But why
on top
would
of the
you
controller.
get this if you can just play it on your freaking iPad or phone?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Don't understand.
Because you can play it on a couch,
But
even though
none
you
of-
can sit on a couch and
none
play
of-
your
yeah, none of those games are
tablet.
that
They want to
good.
make the Ouya kind of like the powerhouse of Android gaming. So like developers will be able to ship and put stuff into the Ouya store that is like Final Fantasy or even better. Like they want to be able to have shooters. They want
I'll
to
play
have
Final
like,
Fantasy on my Wii. Thanks.
I mean, I don't think I would purchase this, but don't you
No.
guys think it's a good opportunity for developers, though? And
it's
people?
cheap.
No, because I think already even the Apple Store is overrun with so many different stuff. You really don't know what's good and what's crap, and a lot of it is crap.
Yeah.
I just don't see why anybody would want this system.
I
Wow.
totally agree with you. Totally agree. Let's jump on a little bit briefly. Let's talk about the PS4 compared to all of these. And I think PS4 has been doing a good job of announcing things.
Yeah.
I just the fact that they had their lineup of games to show you to get you excited.
Yeah.
To me, that was the way to do it. And I'm hoping that we don't know what we're going to see from the Durango, but I hope we see something similar.
Well, the last generation, the PS3, when it was debuted and like it was shown to press and people at E3, it didn't come with this type of lineup. So to see them come out of the gate with some very like their centric titles, their first party titles was really good. I think their launch was very good. I think when they come to E3, they're gonna have stuff to show people
Yeah.
on the show floor and at their press conference.
Capcom's new game looks so awesome.
I'm actually looking forward to the PS4 the most. From all the rumors, I feel like the PS4 is the one that I'm going to go for.
Yeah.
Xbox seems a little more like take over the house.
Yeah, that's kind of what
and-
the rumors are.
I need actual stats, like real stats, before I can make a decision.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the PS4 mainly for the streaming aspects.
Yeah.
But coming out of this generation, I was more of an Xbox 360 girl, so I am
Well,
kind of.
I think that
I was
Xbox is
too,
gonna
which
have that
relates to
streaming.
later.
I think that
Well,
Xbox is
Xbox
going to have that
360 girl.
streaming as well. I think they're going to have that streaming capability as well, and like all the developers know that they want to have that. I mean, like you saw Call of Duty. It's like they want to be able to upload your play in real time,
Yeah.
upload your video after you've done a great match and whatnot. So I think that they're going to give that software capability to the developers if it isn't built into the final Xbox.
Well, another thing for me is if the rumors about the Xbox, the new Xbox, getting the add-on to where I can play my old Xbox 360 games and
Xbox
Xbox
Mini.
Live Arcade. If that is true, that might actually be a huge turning point for me because with the PS4 not being backwards compatible, that kills me
That's
because
true.
they just made me buy all the HD remakes of games that I loved on the PS1, so I had to rebuy them for the PS4 3, and now that's not going to work on the PS4. That's robbery.
Yeah.
I mean, I want backwards compatibility so bad in all the
know.
systems, but I think we're getting reports that PS4 is going to do the same thing as 360 or 720 with an add-on.
They said that they would like to have the full library online one day. You look at Sony's
That's like
record.
when the Wii released the Virtual Console online one day.
This is not going to actually happen anytime soon. Definitely not time for launch. So that might actually be a make it or break it for me.
Yeah, that's really frustrating because like there's so many great games now on that you can purchase all around PS3 from all of Sony's generations. And,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Fatal Frame.
doo-doo.
Fatal Frame is on PSN now. Scariest game known to man.
I
and
still
it's
need to
on
play
PSN
that
now.
game. I need to
You
play Fatal
gotta
Frame. I
download
love
it.
scary games.
So good, so good.
Love
it's gonna
them.
scare you to death.
But yeah, I still need to get Demon's Souls, by the way, speaking of which. But yeah, I was more of a 360 gamer like you, but PS4 at the moment has me the most excited. So I'll be excited
It's
to
only
see
when you know anything about.
at the
Yeah,
moment. Well, that's
true.
probably why.
That's probably true.
But anyways, I was excited to see what Durango announced until these always on rumors, but maybe it's just Sony reps pretending that this is real and
Yeah.
leaking that out to piss people off.
Well,
You never know.
Well, Dave, I think I would be more comfortable with the notion of no backwards compatibility if I thought that these systems could last more than 5 or 10 years.
Well, they're getting longer. The console cycles, like the 360 PS3 console cycle was really long.
I'm not talking about the console side. I'm talking about the console's life itself. I have a Nintendo that is as old as I am that still runs to this day.
Really? Because I'm on my 4th NES.
And
by the way.
I have to make a votive offering to the gods to get my PS2 to work
Yes.
anymore. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
Well,
the difference between a disc and a cartridge.
I'm on my 4th 360.
so as Grant was mentioning though, and ruining our topic lineup.
Yeah, I had moved on to Japanese gaming industry.
Yeah, so he was mentioning before about how just with the Wii and the state of the Japanese industry, our hardware sales are currently up for Japan, and that kind of brings us to what we're going to talk about next, which is the state of the Japanese gaming industry overall.
Yeah, overall it saw growth.
And well, it's overall growth. Their hardware sales reports are coming out this year for this quarter are up, but their software sales are still down. But overall, it's up, so they're doing a little bit better.
Yeah, but for an industry which is going like, oh, we need to have better software, or we need to focus on our software. That's kind of like it's like you in one conference call you're saying like, oh, we need to sell more units of software, and then the earnings report comes out and they're saying like, oh, we made more money selling hardware. It's kind of like, are they going in the right direction? Do they know what they want out of their industry, or do they know how to market themselves to their fans and whatnot?
Yeah, and I agree with that speculation.
I'm just listening.
Okay,
I want some more like weird Japanese games, like Katamari and Tulip. I love Japanese horror games.
Yes,
need
Japanese
more
horror
of
games.
that, more weird stuff.
Can we just get like the arcade version of Badong Badong? What's the one called where you play the game with your butt?
Yeah,
If they bring that to America,
play that.
that would be awesome. Yeah, live stream that. But the reason I'm bringing this up and we're talking about the Japanese gaming industry, a big reason is because of Yoichi Wada, who is the former Square Enix president. He just stepped down this week and had his resignation, and it was released so we could see it. And I'm going to quote here from Yoichi Wada saying, quote, I personally would have liked to wait and hand over the firm when Square Enix is at its best. However, the huge loss was like a voice from the heavens telling me it's time to move on. After giving much thought, I have judged that it would be best to support the company in other ways as I hand over my roles and responsibilities. For this reason, I've decided to step down. So Square Enix, their sales have been they just haven't been meeting expectations, and a lot of huge losses for them this year, which were kind of surprising to me because they're even calling Tomb Raider a huge loss because they were expecting 5 to 6 million sales.
They only had like 3.4.
And they only had 3.4. By the end of their fiscal year, it was going to give it a month. They'll probably have 5 to 6 million.
It was only a month. Yeah, it's really interesting. Like I started doing the number crunching on it afterwards because like this is all in usually these earnings reports and these conference calls, and even when a president like that steps down, it's all in company speak. You know what I mean? In order to make themselves look better, in order to make him in order to place blame where it should be, especially with an outgoing president. But after you do the numbers, it's like Square Enix, like the 12.8 billion yen lost, and when you reverse that back to dollars, it's a $130 million loss.
Oh my God.
So like when you're selling games and you're
Thanks
expecting
for doing that conversion for us, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I would like that money.
When you're doing when you're projecting to sell 5, when you're projecting to sell 5 and 6 million and you're selling 1, or you're selling 3.4, like at first I was like, oh, these projections are just way off, and like you shouldn't be doing projections like that. But they're producing these, you know what I mean? And they're also like they're producing the units to sell, but they're also developing the games for that much money. Like if you think about a $130 million loss, or even if you were like to factor in, like, let's say I did the numbers on Tomb Raider, 3.4 million units sold.
Yeah.
If they were selling it for $30 a game, and that's accounting for margins for
right,
retail,
because retail, all that, yeah.
It made like 100 to 200 million. That's
Yeah.
it. But like a game
But that
like
was in a
games like
month.
that, yeah, but games like that are starting to cost as much as movies. So you're starting to get like voice actors and budgets that are inflated, and that's why you're getting like these projections or these needs to sell millions of units.
But you know what? If you're a Japanese gamer, it'll cost an extra $30 for the Japanese dub.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
Oh god.
I think a lot of Square Enix's problems, and I kind of agree with on the chat, Curtis AG Gamer. At least, Paul Jacobson. Sorry, Paul Jacobson throughout that FF14 hurt them bad, and I'm kind of a big proponent of this. Is that a lot of companies are taking risks with MMO games, and FF14 was just like. I think that was a huge hit for them because any MMO game, you're spending millions upon millions upon millions of dollars to make the game, to run the server, and I really think it's one of the most expensive games that they could go. And after FF11, fine, that was a good experiment. It didn't go well, and I was just surprised they decided to go again with FF14 and try and take that risk again.
I just think that Japanese companies have trouble with change and adapting to things that they're used to.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to.
You know, that's actually what Keiji Inafune was complaining about, who's the creator of Mega Man, was that exact complaint.
Well, it's a cultural thing in Japan. Like, they have a hard time.
You were mentioning that you want like more of like the weird, quirky games to
Yeah.
come out from Japan as well. But I like the fact that Namco announced Dark Souls 2. Because like for me, like if I had to look back across the entire like last 2 years and like what Japanese games did I like the Katamari, like I played Katamari, like the remakes of it from on my iPhone, on my PS Vita, all that stuff. But Dark Souls getting announced is like a major like plus for me.
You know what, let me bounce off of you that and transition to our next segment, which is Moments of the Week. And this is going to be our gaming Moments of the Week. Bring it a little lighter after this serious conversation and the reason I bring it up is because Dark Souls 2 12-minute gameplay footage on IGN is my moment of the week. And Dark Souls is I've been kind of trying to compile my favorite games of all time and redo it. Right now it stands as my second favorite game of all time. I love Dark Souls. I love the shit out of it. I'm gonna drop that word because I love it so much. I've always been a big From Software fan because King's Field on PlayStation, not a very well-known game. It was a first-person RPG. Loved that game, and you can see all the influences of it into Dark Souls. And we're gonna pull up some footage of it now, Dark Souls 2. This is just the trailer that we're gonna be playing for you guys because I don't think we have the rights to the gameplay from IGN, but it's the newest trailer that we're dropping. And I just want to talk some Dark Souls 2 briefly for you guys because I love it so much. But basically, it looks like the new Dark Souls might be taking place in the painted world of Ariamis, which is what a lot of the speculation is, because they're showing in the gameplay footage Castle of the Dragons and Mansion of the Dragons, and the Castle of Dragons really looks like the painted world of Ariamis. And we're trying to get speculated, a lot of people in the community who are Dark Souls fans.
Careful how you say that.
What's that?
Painted world of Ariamis.
Yes. If this is a
Way to EMB that there, Dave.
yes, it looks like it might be a prequel to Dark Souls as opposed to a sequel because there's dragons, because the bonfires are still lit and there's bonfires. And I do want to give a big shout out to one of my big celebrities, to me, Epic Name Bro. I love him. If you guys ever have Dark Souls thoughts or questions, go to Epic Name Bro's channel. But he gives a great breakdown of the gameplay, great breakdown of the trailer, breaks down for everybody what we're seeing, what the lore is, a lot of the gameplay differences that we're going to be looking at. So definitely check out Epic Name Bro on YouTube if you guys are big Dark Souls fans. But that is my gaming moment of the week. I don't know. Do you guys play Dark Souls?
Gaming moment. Yeah, I played it. I enjoyed it. I think the trailer announcement and like the sequel is just like that's a boon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like for Namco, that's a really big boom.
It's one of those games for me that other things I was playing at the time when it came out, and so it got pushed back. But then more games came out, so it had to get pushed back
sitting
again.
on
never quite got to it.
Like Deus Ex Human Revolution.
Yes, I'm going to. Oh, that game was really good.
Deus Ex Human Revolution is also one of my favorite games of all time.
That is a really good game, but yeah, it took me it took me forever to finally play that. But same with Dark Souls, I'm going to play it. I swear. When? I don't know.
I
Well, if
will
you're waiting
force
until
you
the
to
next
play
console
it.
generation, you might not be able to play
I'm
it.
going
I'll have to do it.
force you to play it.
I know. It's totally a game. I know so much about it. A lot of my friends swear by it. It's totally a game I know I'm going to love. I just haven't had time.
I love challenging games, and it's a super challenging game, which is part of it, but it's also that there's so much hidden lore to it and so much depth that's not there in front of you that you have to discover for yourselves. I just love that. And the character design, the art direction, the monsters you face are actually like every time when I first played the game, I would get to a boss, I'd just be like, this is how the hell am I going to beat this boss? He looks like I will never be able to beat this game. It's not possible. So you get the biggest sense of accomplishment when you beat the bosses. I mean, now I'm on like my 3rd run through, 4th run through, and I'm like, wow, this is easy now. But I mean, I just love the game. It is so well designed. I majored in game design, and just thinking about the game design aspects of it, I just think they did a fantastic job covering all elements of the design.
Well, if you've seen the reaction to this trailer being released, like, if there was one thing that Namco could take away from this, it's fact this is a game that spans continents as far as their fans. It wasn't like they released the trailer in Japan and it was only Japanese, like the Japanese public that got interested about this. You had a huge contingent of, you know, like Western gamers who are just like, I'm in line to buy that first day one. So like that's them appealing to their base, like I was saying before in a previous episode. Like they need to appeal with their core games. They need to bring their games to the front. That's them bringing a big game and, you know, like saying like, we are willing to bring this out this year. Like that's what they're going to be coming to E3 with. Stuff like that.
So Dark Souls was one of the biggest games of the year. It was up in contention, and the other big game that it was up against was Skyrim, which I know leads to Kaori's game of the week, or gaming moment of the week.
Yes, my gaming moment of the week was I was on Reddit and I was looking at the Skyrim Reddit, and there is now a Skyrim food truck. So I thought that was really cool.
And that's specifically for Elder Scrolls Online, which they're working on. They're working on their own MMO.
You need to download the Skyrim nude patch.
That's Rachel's thing.
Look at that. If you can scroll or whatever, there's actually a menu.
There's a little food
where
wagon.
there's actually food. I kind of wish that they had the ingredients like grilled leeks and all that random stuff.
Oh yeah.
Definitely want to have this food truck come our way.
So where is this food truck? It looks like it's I don't recognize
it. Looks like it's in New Mexico over by Breaking Bad set or something.
It looks like it's in like England actually.
Yeah, to me this is like the most random. Sometimes companies do the most random well, the
Homefront game had a food truck rolling around on the Mid-Wilshire area, and when that game came out, like I was like, I don't get it. Because, like, honestly, like, what does Homefront have to offer for food? Like, there's a picture of the blindfolded guy on the front, and, like, obviously the blindfold like, basically says, you know, like, oh, he might be executed. Or, you know, like, I don't really, like, understand the appeal of the food and, like, the war and
because when you eat, you're
execution.
happy. It's one of those things when you're happy.
This one I understand because I was cooking. You know what I mean? I was cooking in that game, and I understand the appeal of it.
Good point. And if you get the hearth set? Hearthfire set, that's all about the home.
Wasteless deal.
Yeah, that one's fun.
Jeez.
No, I like it.
You know what this reminds me of, like publicity, things like this? It reminds me of like the Turok, Name Your Baby Turok publicity. I forget which company it was. I think it was Sony, maybe. Not Sony, but regardless, there's the whole, if you name your baby Turok, we'll give you $1,000. And
name your baby, get a tattoo. Get salmonella from a food truck. These are all bad ideas, just so you guys know. Don't get a tattoo. Don't name your baby. And the food
don't name your baby
trucks are suspicious.
But Turok over there, what's your gaming moment of the week?
I had to go through a really big deal to get that name changed too. It's ridiculous. My gaming moment of the week is Far Cry 3's standalone expansion announcement of Blood Dragon.
Yes.
Now,
That's like everyone's favorite moment of the week.
Well, apparently not you guys.
Well, Dark Souls 2, baby. I'm on Dark Souls 2. But you know what? When I saw the cover stuff for this stuff, I wasn't as excited until we saw this.
Yeah.
But Grant, take it away.
VHS quality, because we all know that that's what reminds you of 80s.
Yes.
We have some sausage and, you know, workout advertisements.
There we go.
The workout advertisements
Get right into a He-Man G.I. Joe mashup of a trailer for this game. And, you know, like, this game exudes, or rather, the game and the trailer exudes an 80s feel. So, you know, it's appealing right to my heartstrings. Like, it got me right in the feel.
Oh, that high five clap, amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, and when you watch the gameplay itself, which you're about to show, everything has that cool neon.
And remind you, this is Far Cry 3. So this is the game that was like very, like, it had some psychedelic elements to it, but it was very rooted in reality. Like,
and
it was down to earth.
They thought this was an April Fool's joke.
Yeah, and this did come out. Hey, it came out in like the first week of April.
I love
the second week of April.
Metallic flip off there with the mechanic hand.
I'm gonna play the hell out of this game.
I wonder how much it's gonna cost.
And I'm gonna giggle the whole time.
You know, I have to be honest and say I've only played a little bit of Far Cry 2 and I haven't played the others, and this trailer makes me want this so badly.
Yeah.
Well, this is a standalone. This is like it's standalone completely, so you won't need to have Far Cry to actually play it. You're just going to get the game. You're going to download it, or you're going to, if they release a disc, you're going to get the disc. And you won't have to load up Far Cry in order to play it, and it doesn't look like it takes anything from the Far Cry games. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just looks so sick.
That's my moment of the week, honestly. I mean, like, how can you get? Like, you can't really. I mean, well, maybe you can try to, you know, one up
I can't
it,
top
but
that. No, but that's amazing. I'm in love with that so much.
All right, Rachel, what is your moment of the week?
My moment of the week, I don't have any fancy videos or anything like that. It's just basically BioShock Infinite destroys my whole week in the best destroying way possible. I was like playing it and I haven't finished it yet, but like this thing happened and I was like, no way, and the game was like, yeah way, and that was my gaming moment of the week.
Yeah, if you follow Rachel on Twitter, she has been posting constant videos, Let's Play videos.
Yes, my
BioShock
Rachel
Infinite.
plays BioShock Infinite.
BioShock Infinite is like, I've been debating it. You haven't finished it yet, but
No.
I've been like, I find that it's one of the first games that I've been able to debate with my, you know, like my coworkers, like my friends
Yeah.
and whatnot.
Grant and I were debating it.
Yeah, it's like it's a game that has a very controversial pedigree and ending. The way that it ends is going to be, not only is it a surprise, I didn't know how it was going to end before I started playing it, luckily, but it's a debatable game. It's something that you can wonder over for a long time, and there's
Yeah.
DLC to come.
My review is going to be spoiler everywhere. So it's going to be just actually me talking about the ending and my thoughts. So
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Well, as long as you say it ahead of time. My friend and I were, after I finished it, just like had multiple, we were emailing us, a friend from back home who now lives in Silicon Valley, working for NVIDIA, James Melton, this is your call out. But we were having like literally like a multi-page discussion and like debate over the game and talking about it. So it's just like, it's definitely great for that sake. It's a great game to talk about, great fun for that. But guys, that wraps up for our gaming moments of the week, and we're gonna get a little bit more serious here because IGN Pro League has been acquired by Blizzard, and there were a lot of there were kind of signs leading up to it because IGN had a big tournament scheduled for March 28th through 31st in Las Vegas. They canceled it.
I didn't see this coming.
A lot of worry, and Grant, you know, I think you are the one who knows the most about this, so I'm gonna let you take it away.
Out of the people here, I probably play the most real-time strategy, or I follow real-time strategy games the most, I think. I don't know. I haven't polled you guys yet. This was really a shock to me. Because like I was telling Kaori just before we started, this is like a major sports league buying a channel like ESPN. It's pretty significant because it outlines this dedication by Blizzard that they're going to rebuff and, you know, like rebuild the IGN Pro League. They're going to cover their, you know, like their StarCraft matches through it. They're going to cover, you know, like let's say World of Warcraft Battlegrounds. So when BlizzCon comes around, and even during when BlizzCon is not running during the rest of the year, like they're going to broadcast and cover these matches through their IPL or whatever they decide to name it. It's really interesting. Like, I wonder if they're going to give the same kind of front page status or going to cover the other competitors' games as much as the IPL used to.
Right.
I think they won't, and that's a big reason they did it. They're like, this is our chance because now League of Legends is getting big. Let's put Blizzard back in the front light.
But that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, I would like an IPL or like a major network like that to feature League of Legends, Dota, feature StarCraft as well, and any other like MOBAs or like online role-playing games that have competitive matches like World of Warcraft's Battlegrounds and stuff like that. The PvP aspect is just like, it's riveting. I sat BlizzCon 2 years ago. They didn't have one last year, but 2 years ago, like I came there for the role-playing games and I sat in the audience watching the StarCraft players play the entire time.
Yeah. I mean, I think that they're doing this to try and push. Maybe they'll have a League of Legends tournaments, but that won't be as big of a deal as the StarCraft 2 tournament. What I'm kind of curious, though, is if this was a good move for IGN, because IGN is saying that they didn't really have the resources to do it anymore.
Yeah.
But e-gaming is really getting bigger and bigger, and I mean, maybe I know it's not their thing because they're more about news coverage, but it seems like why would you not want to have? They had their foot in the door and they had a big hand in this. It seems like a good thing to be. It's an emerging sport.
Yeah,
you think
absolutely.
you want to be on the forefront of it.
It's a very well pedigreed sport.
Well, no, but I
in
mean it's
South
emerging in
Korea, and,
popularity is what I mean. Emerging in American popularity.
I think it's going to be it's going to be a test to see whether or not Blizzard can bring it to the United States and bring it to the Western countries and really like drive that interest.
Well,
like,
it is growing, and again, like I said, I'm just surprised for IGN. Did you think that this was a good move on IGN's
I knew they were
part?
going to sell it. I just didn't know who they were going to sell it to. And like in the back of my mind, I figured like a big company that had a vested interest in it would have bought it. I thought it would have been like Riot. You know what I mean?
Don't you
Of
think
League of Legends.
Don't you think it saves jobs? It does, right?
Well, I think they're
Well-
keeping the hosts and like the people that are involved
fact that
with it
they
are all
bought
being
it,
like
yeah.
they're all being like transferred to the new unit.
Right,
so
right, yeah.
it does save jobs.
It's important in this community.
But I mean, I think IGN dropped it when they knew Blizzard. I think the buyout was already in the talks, and that's why they
Yeah.
didn't do it. Otherwise, it still would have happened. It was just a moment of silence while the executives figured things out.
Yes.
Well,
all the signing
IGN went
papers.
through a major like besides the sale of the IPL or besides like the offloading of it, they were going through a major reorganization the last 3 weeks. So
Yeah.
like that I expected them to get rid of something as specialized as that. They want to get back to covering games in general, but I was looking to see who would buy it, and I thought it was going to be one of the major networks like Twitch or some of the others.
Yeah.
But like Blizzard, to me, is shocking. It's a pretty shocking.
Yeah,
purchase.
I'd agree. I would probably go with Twitch first.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get to our quick hit segment because I mean we got a bunch of news stories that we're going to talk about briefly, some fun ones.
Yeah.
And Rachel, I would love for you to bring up our first quick hit.
Yes, the study that I found online saying that they did a poll about which type of gamers are best in bed, and it turns out PC gamers are the worst.
Grant.
With the best in bed gamers are the 360 players.
Look, guys,
High five.
I didn't mean to
This
to,
poll is
to
like for
move
people
it that.
who take stock in that kind of stuff.
No, well, just one thing.
I didn't mean to shift it that far towards 360. I'm sorry, guys.
But they didn't even mention PS3 gamers,
Right,
which makes me
right.
think that we're so good,
No, no.
so good.
Average. I'd say
I put PS3 right at
thing-
average.
Another thing to remember with this poll was done in the UK.
yeah, in England.
So does it really count?
Yes, of course it
Okay.
does. It does.
I'll say yes because I used to live in London and they polled me the one time I was in London and they're just like, oh, this
How
is.
good
this
are
is
you?
I wonder what the metrics for the polling were. Like, did they go out and interview like 1,000 people, or did they just ask 5
It was
guys who play Xbox in their basement?
1,747
And
people.
aren't these?
I'm really good
but
at
these
sex.
people-
1,747 partners of the gamers.
Yes.
But you can't tell them like, oh yeah, he sucked. It'd be weird if
No,
he's
they-
right
they
next
did.
to you.
I would.
We have the lowest was 20% below average. So people were rating it below
Is this a
average,
peer-
27%.
You know, as the PC gamer in the crowd, is this a peer-reviewed study? Like,
It was-
is this like
they were studying the
did anybody check
partners.
the
their
non
numbers?
360 gamers have a problem with this study.
I just don't see the connection.
yeah, they just don't look. Maybe you just want to turn a blind side to what's really going on. I get it. That's
We know
okay.
what's up, though.
We know what's up. Rachel and I will stand over.
I'm gonna get a new poll going, and I'm gonna
Yes.
I'm gonna figure out how cocky certain gaming communities are, and I would say
Phrasing.
the
360,
360's
no. I don't
right
know
up
about
there.
that.
I'm with
I don't
you
know
there.
about that. PC gamers can be pretty
Yeah,
bad.
PC gamers are usually the most cocky in the community.
Yeah.
I feel like.
They're like, you're
But
not
hey,
a
you know
gamer.
what? I'm
if you're
willing to
not a PC
admit,
gamer.
you know, like maybe being
That's
good
true,
in
too.
bed and being cocky goes hand in hand.
Maybe.
Dear God, phrasing, Grant.
Wow, I did not realize that until. Thank you, John.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously it's in good fun, but really, I mean, it was a company called Vouchers Code Pro, pretty much trying to
Maybe they got
promote
a
their
code to
company
sell or
by
something,
doing
yeah.
this. But they did poll the partners of gamers. It wasn't the gamers themselves; it was the partners.
Well,
that they
you wouldn't be
polled.
dating someone if they sucked in bed.
Apparently,
What if you
20% of
loved
people
them
would be.
And they
How could you love
Hell,
someone
I'm
that
getting
sucks
married
in
by
bed?
suck
That's
in
the
bed.
best
What are
you
you
could
talking
get.
about?
Okay. Or what? I mean, a lot of relationships you don't necessarily have sex the first date.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not
So
saying
maybe you
that,
take a
but-
couple months. I mean, yeah, Kaori, I don't know where you're coming from, Kaori, but maybe you take a couple months and you get to really know someone and start really loving them, and then you have sex and it's not
They're
all
like,
you were hoping for.
yeah.
But then the relationship's done, right?
Or
I mean,
it's maybe,
I mean, maybe
that's
it's not
all
well,
they can
Apparently,
get.
if you're a 360 gamer,
It's
not.
either no sex or bad sex.
Yeah.
a PS3 gamer, I have high standards.
You know what I would really like to go on with the study is like a correlation between whether or not you're good in bed and your gamer score. Oh.
Apocalyptic Pete says it's hard for 360 gamers to be good in bed when they are all just 12-year-olds on Call of Duty.
What you trying to say?
Honest,
Yes.
What you trying to say?
When my mom lets me out of the house, I'm really good in bed. Come on.
Maybe
That's amazing.
they were probably pulling the non-Call of Duty players.
Yeah.
Right.
The real gamers.
The real gamers.
Yeah.
Like Rachel and I. That's who they were pulling. They were pulling
Without
our
a frame of reference, I deem this study as cock. and
High
bull.
five. High five.
Oh, you deem this study cock?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And
Bullshit.
balls. Let's
Talking
not
balls.
forget that.
I give this study 2 boobs of approval.
All right, and that's as far as you can get, unless you're talking in terms of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yes.
Total Recall.
Yeah. Then we'd have 3.
All right, I give it 2 boobs of approval too. Then that I don't have. 2 pecks of approval.
There we go. That works. That
2
works.
rippling pecks of sexual prowess of approval.
See, these are the Xbox 360
Dave, do we
games for
need to leave
y'all.
you alone with yourself for a little while? Jesus Christ.
Sounds
Look,
like
I don't know
it.
if you guys can see in the studio, but that over to my right is a bathroom. So I'll go over to the bathroom for a bit. I'll be back.
Oh my goodness.
All right.
That's amazing.
With that, and speaking of body parts and things that happen, this is a horrible transition and gross, but Golden Poo, guys. EA won the Golden Poo for the second consecutive year.
Yep.
Wah, wah. I kind of saw it coming based off of
Yeah.
everything. I mean, because it was more that the poll happened. It was on the consumers. It literally started right when the SimCity debacle happened. Bad timing, really.
Yeah, a bunch of bad timing.
A whole lot of bad timing.
But I mean, like, I don't place much stock in this. I mean, it's run by the consumerist, isn't it?
Yes, it's run by the
voted
consumers.
on by consumers, which I mean, like, still that does give an air of like this is what the consumers think are bad companies. But still, I mean, like, it's not like these are not people that are well known for their how do you say cultured and like tempered responses. These are the people that like post on comments like when they get a like a bad cup of coffee, or they like they get a bad shakedown on a game, like, or they don't like like an online component or a DLC, something like that.
You mean when you look down at our comments?
I'm just surprised that they beat Bank of America. People are losing houses, but people are like, no, we
Time
can't play games
Warner.
correctly, so let's give them
Yeah,
this one.
that was actually the
Time Warner's the
final
worst.
bracket there. Yeah,
Yeah.
Time Warner. Oh my God, I hate dealing with them.
See?
They
the
make me
cable
want to kick puppies.
cable companies and the big game companies like EA and Activision, they're always into the final 14, 16 of these like consumerist, like worst company of the year lists. And I mean, like, once you see some of these companies that offer so many of our essential services, TV, video games, banking, your internet, it's just like these are companies that like are part of your everyday life, and yes, some of them have bad customer service, but some of them like go out of their way to appeal to their customers and
these
provide
ones
the best
don't.
ones.
They don't. That's the problem.
And EA's also had a lot of reports before internally that is horrible working for them.
Yes, I've had friends that have worked for EA, and they have never said a single good thing
Oh,
about
that
it.
sucks.
Yeah. So I mean, it's really it's also us getting the internal reports.
Yeah.
But let's move on to some games of tomorrow.
Oh, I like that intro.
That's specifically why
So
I titled it that way for
sci-fi.
you guys.
I like it.
And
Sound effects brought to you
because
by Stephen
Rachel-
Lemieux.
Yes. And because Rachel was at Disneyland yesterday.
I was in Tomorrowland
Probably
until 1
Tomorrowland.
a.m.
That's why we're
Yes.
doing games of tomorrow.
Yay.
Land. So we got a bunch of reports about games that are going to be now speculated to come out for the PS4 and 720.
Yeah.
Which would be
Well, we already knew that like Watch Dogs and Black Flag or Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag was coming for the PS4. But according to some of the guys that worked on the game, their LinkedIn profiles, it looks like those are coming out for the new Xbox as well.
so
They're
we're
going to be
getting
releasing
more.
some of these games. Like, I think these are going to be cross-platform, meaning like, especially as we go into the transition, you're going to see some of these companies develop their big franchises, not their like console-specific. Like, you aren't going to see the launch titles for PS4 bleeding their way into the PS3. But you will see these like franchises that release one game a year, like
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
We need to slow down with those guys.
It's a little
like
too
we're
much.
starting to see that with Batman Arkham Origins. Like
Yes.
you're going to see some of these go like, okay, yeah, we're going to develop the game, and at the last minute we're going to make it specific to a particular console. So if the Xbox 720 or whatever it's going to be called hasn't gained as much steam
But
as
that costs so much money because if they're programming it for both consoles, you'd think they'd just release it on both.
Yeah, but they
costs money.
already are programming and releasing multiple versions of the game for Xbox.
Right. I don't think they're going to cut out one. Is all I'm
Wii U
saying.
and PC. So that specialization isn't going to hinder them from making it from both the Xbox 720 and the 360.
Right. All I'm saying is they wouldn't cut out a console they're going to release it for that if they already programmed it for the console.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
That was silly.
Yeah. So, but you mentioned Batman Arkham Origins. I know.
And then there's
Kaori's excited about that one.
Very excited about one. I love Arkham City.
Interesting side note, that's not being developed by Rocksteady, if I believe.
No,
it's
it's
being by
not.
Warner Brothers Montreal.
Warner Brothers Montreal, yeah. It's a Warner Brothers game.
And the other thing about Origins is that, I mean, I'm not going to spoil the ending of City, but after the ending of City, it kind of led to, well, what brings the future? Because there's some big things that happen. But Origins is going to be a prequel, so like potentially Dark Souls 2. But a lot of prequels.
Killzone Shadowfall.
But it's
prequel, right?
Yeah. So Origins is going to be a prequel, and that's kind of what we know about at the moment. And it could be
bad guys.
I mean, I loved City. I was spotted hoping it'd be like Metroidvania style, and it ended up being more GTA.
I liked
it
it, but nothing wowed me about it.
No, I wasn't as
like,
wowed about it
this
either.
is really cool. And the more I played it, the more I was like, yeah, and I just kind of moved away.
I had so much fun with it, and the DLCs were really good too.
When I play an open world game now, all I want to do is I just want it to be Saints Row. And if it's not Saints Row, I'm disappointed.
You just want to be able to smack people with dildos.
I
is
just
what
want
you're
to
saying.
run around naked with a giant purple dildo. That's right.
Purple dildo bag.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, I did really like City, but I agree with you. It wasn't all I was hoping it would be. But that's because I got it because people told me it was Metroidvania style. I love Metroidvania games.
Right.
And it was open world.
So you had expectations.
So I had the wrong expectations for it.
Yeah, you expected something else.
So that was more of what it was. And I think it's because the original Arkham City was more Metroidvania. So that was kind of what happened with that. But still, I'm excited for it because it still was a great game.
Yeah,
and one of Kaori's favorite games.
It is one of my favorite games of 2011.
So definitely excited for Origins. And an interesting tidbit of news is that we've actually got a new game coming out from Insomniac. An entirely new IP is going to be coming out in May. And Ted Price was talking on it about how releasing a new IP at the end of a console cycle, which is kind of a thing that usually people will hold it for the new system.
Is this Fuse we're talking about?
Yeah, we're talking Fuse.
Okay, yeah.
So a little surprising that they're releasing it when they are, but I think as long as it's a good game, it's Insomniac. I think it'll still do all right.
They're going to be able to do it for both consoles. They're going to say like, why not? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if a couple million people go out and buy the new PS4 on Christmas
and
Day
since it won't be backwards compatible,
they're going to make they're going to make these games like you're going to see for the first 2 years, maybe even longer. They're going to come out with these big budget titles. Like, why not spend the extra couple $100,000? Not millions, not like hundreds of millions to bring these games to multiple consoles. So you're going to see games come out just like we saw with the PS2, PS3, and even the Xbox 360 transition. You're going to see these games, especially the big ones, the ones that they want to sell millions upon millions upon millions of copies, come out with versions for both consoles, Xbox and Xbox next generation, PS3, and then the PS4.
I did get my hands on some Fuse. When was that? It was like after PAX Prime last year.
Yeah.
So I'm really, really, really interested and excited to see more about the game. I liked what I got to play.
Yeah, and I think Insomniac always has done a great job with new IPs, and I love seeing new IPs, so I hope it does well, because it's a new IP. Come on, guys, let's support a new IP.
I love co-op games, and the game really, really wants you to play with other people. Not so much against each other,
I just
you play
downloaded
together.
Battle Block Theater finally came out 4 years later, but it's really good. It's I've been playing that with John. It's a co-op game.
For me, it's Watch Dogs and Killzone. Like, Killzone just like shocked me at the PS4 announcement, and Watch Dogs has been wowing me since they showed the first footage of that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to
like,
Watch Dogs
it's insane.
too.
Like the gameplay demo of it recently just like heightened the fact that like you're going to be able to interact with everything in the environment. And then Watch Dogs new IP, so like it's something to look out for.
I just hope it's not a technologically advanced Grand Theft Auto. I need more than that.
Kind of looks like that
which it kind of looks like. I agree.
I need more.
I'm kind of done with GTA, to be honest.
God,
It's the
that game has dug
Grand Theft
itself
Auto
into the
of
ground.
tomorrow.
It is. Oh, that was amazing. Okay.
Good. Nice call. But let's go ahead and wrap this up, because we've got an hour now with saying what games we're currently playing right now, and then we'll log out with where you can find us. So, I mean, right now I'm currently playing Battle Block Theater with my good roommate John Quick, and I'm going through another playthrough of Dark Souls because I just love that game, and I finished every game. I'm waiting for Injustice to come out. What are you playing, Kaori?
I am playing Tomb Raider right now on the PS3, courtesy of Dave, and
Good game.
yes.
I'm playing Guacamelee right now, finishing it up.
That was
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
I want to play that game.
Let's see, I'm playing Bioshock Infinite, of course, and still doing Guild Wars 2 basically daily.
Always achievement hunting on Twitter. I always see it pop up.
dailies. I know.
All right, and guys, once again, I'm Dave Klein. You can find me on Twitter at @TheDaveKlein. That's Klein, or go to my website, djk-online.com.
And you can find me at KAORIOUS Kaorius.
You can find me at GAK on Twitter, and you can watch my website at nerdl.us.
And I'm on Twitter, which is @TheRachel, and for all of Rachel, you can go to rachel.com.
And guys, definitely come and join us on the live chat. Come listen to us on iTunes. Go to YouTube, iTunes.
Next week, same time.
Yeah, you can find us on YouTube. You can find us on iTunes. Definitely rate, definitely comment. And if you want to join in on the live chat, go to AfterBuzzTV.com at noon Pacific time. That's noon to 1 p.m. on AfterBuzzTV.com. The live chat will be going. We'll definitely interact with you guys as you've heard, so come and join us. We'd love chatting with you guys. You can call in at our number, which we'll introduce and announce at the beginning. So come and join us, and we will see you guys next week.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.